Spies loyal to the Kremlin have infiltrated ISIS in Syria and are currently gathering intelligence. That's according to Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, who told Russia's state-controlled Russia 1 channel that an extensive spy network has been set up inside of the Islamic State in Syria. Now, those statements were made during a teaser broadcast on Sunday evening. This is ahead of the full program later this week, which is a full interview with the Chechen leader. He's basically saying how his forces are helping to coordinate Russian airstrikes inside of Syria at the cost of their own lives. These spies, of course, giving intelligence to the Russians, telling them where to strike and when ISIS is most vulnerable. Apparently, he also went on to say Chechnya's best fighters are there. So he's sending his best, his brightest to infiltrate ISIS at their own risk. So what do you think, Margaret? Do you buy it?
Are you calling bullshit on Kadyrov's claims, or are you saying that they're or is it a skeptical thing? Well, I do buy it. I do. If a part of it, at least, just knowing briefly, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just knowing what I know about Chechnya, I myself, you and I have talked about this. I've flown to cover suicide bombings that happened because of Chechen fighters. I don't know that that's totally untrue, what he's saying. He is a close ally of Putin. There are no, the criticism of Kadyrov, obviously the human rights aspect and the links that he goes to get information out of people, but I'm not sure that that's a totally discredible claim that he would have infiltrated or has operatives on the ground. I think that that's probably credible.
Right, because we have seen a lot of people go to fight ISIS, not as terrorists leaving from Chechnya. If anyone doesn't know, Chechnya, semi-autonomous region within Russia, hardened by 2 wars with Moscow, but now seems to have a pretty good relationship with Putin, Kadyrov as well. It's really hard to say whether or not this is just propaganda. Like I said, we have seen a good amount of ISIS fighters go to fight, Chechnyan fighters to go fight ISIS. But at the same time, not long ago, ISIS revealed a very gruesome video of them executing someone who they were saying was a Russian spy. And they were like, this is what you get for coming. And of course, Kadyrov said, no way. That's not our guy. That's not ours. Vehemently, denying any involvement there. So now he's kind of going back and saying, well, yeah, we definitely have infiltrated them, at the highest level, and we're there and we're working along with them. Could this just be, psychological warfare on ISIS, letting them know that they can't trust anyone? Whether or not he's actually being honest, it's really almost impossible to tell. But you have to take everything that you hear from the Russian media, and this media as well, in the West, I guess, too, with a grain of salt always.
Fair sources. I mean, looking at the motivation of what he gets by saying, look, we have these spies, the source that this comes out of, it is an Eastern European source or a Russian source. So obviously, that's not verifiable in the West. But what it does say is that he is actively involved in the conflict regarding ISIS and he's an ally of Russia. Totally credible. That's totally credible. I mean, that's credible to me. And look, Chechen leaders like this one, I mean, his father, he inherited this position from his father. Of course, he's going to be close to Putin. But the fact that, he's had such an issue before with Chechen rebels and then Chechen, they want to call them terrorists, we've even called them terrorists in Western media. He's had an issue with suicide bombers himself, and it wouldn't shock me at all if he's learned a few ways of infiltrating and dealing with that.
Definitely not surprising. He's also known for a pretty bad human rights record as well, at least in the West he is. But again, I guess it's hard to take anything that, Russian state media will give us, but at the same time, apparently Kadyrov is claiming that he has infiltrated ISIS with his best soldiers.